Without any more waiting, a good evening and a very, very warm welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. I think this is a very, very important topic. So, on Parenting Thursday, we're today talking about unlocking silence, the ugly side of the lockdown with Miss Nisha Jain Grover, who's a nationally awarded counselor, a psychologist, and an educator. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sukirti Gupta. I am the co founder of Sipping Thoughts. Sipping Thoughts is a multi platform media company that was co founded by me and by Meeta Gudgutia. It was set up keeping in mind the tagline Real Women, Real Thoughts. We wanted to create a space for women to share their ideas and to be heard. We want to create a no judgment platform and a network of women for women. Sipping Thoughts reaches about 2 million women on a monthly basis, and of course, men that support us. Sipping Thoughts is available on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, and of course, do check out our website. We have lots of very interesting webinars, lots of interesting content. So please do check it out. We'll be posting the links in the chat box so you can see it there. And now, today, I know I have 4-year-olds. A lot of you know because I talk about that quite a bit. And they've already started saying, shh, it's a secret. So when do they get into this mindset of, okay, something is to be talked about, something is not to be talked about? This is something that is maybe not to be talked about in the open. So I think we're going to have a very, very interesting session today. And Nisha's parenting sessions are always an eye opener, and the ideas that she shares are easily applicable and relatable. The key takeaways, especially that we will be focusing in this session, is we learning how to get our child to open up, dealing with social media. I think all of us are probably hearing about the social dilemma. So this is one of those things that has the pros and the cons. Importance of communication amongst each other and with each other, all the types of abuses and what are the legal aspects. She will be also sharing 5 unique parenting tips with us. And the last but not least, why silence can be dangerous and infectious. A little bit about Nisha. She is very well known. She has been the resource person for the Education and Management Department at IIT Delhi and IIT Madras and various universities and colleges. She was recently facilitated by the Priyadarshini Award in 2019, and she is among the 100 successful women of Rajasthan. She's a passionate educator, a counselor, a psychologist with the Child Helpline 1098 and the Department of Child Rights. She has recently taken up a pan India project on POSCO, which stands for Child Protection and Offence Law, and drug abuse awareness, and has trained more than 20,000 participants on the same. She is also on air counselor psychologist with 94.3 radio channel in Rajasthan. She is presently writing for various newspapers, bloggers, and influencers. But that's more on the professional side. On her personal side, Nisha loves children, and she is herself a child at heart and believes that preschoolers will further build up our country. And she has come up with her dream project of Vatsala Legacy Preschool, where she has no boundaries to give her maximum to the little ones and began a small role to do something for the community and the country. She dreams of having a literate and inclusive India. Nisha, welcome to Sipping Thoughts. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. That was some wonderful words for me. I'm really glad.
Oh, no, we're so excited to have you. So tell us, Nisha, I know you're very passionate and you're very passionate about this topic. So, what kind of led you here before we begin into the session?
So there were a couple of things that got me here. Initially, when I saw children struggling at the mainstream level, mainstream school level, where the principals, teachers, parents didn't understand what exactly inclusive education meant. They were not even aware of what is learning disabilities, what is hyperactivity, how to handle them, how to include them in the classrooms. So that was the first thing when Vatsalya Legacy actually got into this world, and we came into it in form of inclusive education for mainstream system, and then moved on to various directions wherever parents, teachers, students, or any stakeholder related to a child needed any kind of counseling or guidance from us. And that is when we took projects like POXO, we took projects like drug abuse, we took projects like domestic violence, because anywhere where a woman is molested or when a woman is sexually or physically abused, somewhere or the other, the child plays a very important role in the environment if there are children in that environment. So that made us move into directions like this.
So, one more question, because you are running all of these child hotlines and you're part of it, what are the major issues that you're seeing that children are coming across, just across, especially in the lockdown?
Two things. One is social media. Second is to prove that they exist on social media. And third thing is drug and abuse, physically and virtually both, even virtually. So these are the major concerns that we have come across during these, especially during these lockdown. You won't believe, but somehow there is about 13% of increase in consuming of drugs by teenagers just during these lockdown, right from say April to July.
So 13% increase just in the pandemic. How are they getting access to this? Because I know drugs is a big, big issue. I mean, it's being talked
So
about, especially because of Bollywood and all of the different aspects of it.
many of us, like parents like us, we take our children for granted. We think that, children won't know anything. They can't do anything. They can't access to illegal things or illegal materials, but they have their own ways. So there was this chain that was running, that was going on through Instagram. There was a group where they used to make friends with each other, and I think after 2 to 3 conversations or maybe 5 conversations, they directly used to ask that, do you want to feel good in your life? Now, any child or any human wants to feel good because everybody is struggling, especially during this lockdown. Everybody was struggling. And that was that one thing that they got hold of. Do you want to feel good in your life? And that is when all these drug system came in through Instagram, through Messenger, through Snapchat. But two main channels, what we found out was Instagram and Snapchat, wherever the teenagers are giving their maximum time.
But it's very, very sad to hear. But with that, I will let you start your session because I know people are waiting for that. So I hand it over to you, Nisha.
Thank you, Sukriti. So, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this session. This topic is very close to my heart. And I would like to start with asking you one question. Do you think every child should speak up, no matter what? या आप लोगों को भी ऐसे लगता है कि कुछ चीजें हैं जो चुप रह के टॉलरेट कर लो, कुछ चीजें हैं that you don't need to speak about it? There are some things like, not to be told, secret box में रख दो. What do you think? Children should speak up or they should not?
I think we're hearing a lot of yeses from in the chat. Kavita says yes. Sukriti Verma, expression of everything is important. Devi
Yes.
Sharma, yes. Arvinder Kaur, yes.
So, we all are parents here, mothers and fathers. How are we teaching that to our children? Are we even letting them know that how important it is to express? Now, I'll give you one small example. Some days ago, there was a parent who came and told me that, ma'am, my child throws a lot of tantrums, even for the smallest thing in the house. Even for the smallest thing. For example, if suppose she or he wanted something, and if I'm like 5 seconds late, he starts throwing tantrums. So, in a situation like this, we as parents first start working on tantrums. कि ये tantrum क्यों कर रहा है? We forget that what is the reason behind this tantrums. So, tantrums are basically any kind of tantrum or anger is basically the child is trying to express the discomfort or the frustration related to anything around him or her in the environment. Now, the frustration for an older child can be locked down, not meeting his friends, not able to play. So that comes out in form of tantrums. That comes out in form of a tantrum. It can be for a preschooler or for an adolescent child not able to go in the colony or in the building down to meet his or her friends, not able to watch a typical show or anything, not able to go into the favorite restaurant, not able to eat something. Now, these kind of behavior comes out in form of different expressions that we all think maybe as anger, maybe as tantrums, maybe as ill behavior, misbehavior, but we forget that every individual has a different way of expressing the discomfort and the frustration that is building up inside. So my first thing to all of you is, when your child is not able to adjust with the environment, there are ways that the child is going to show that to you. Now, instead of going and thinking that why this way, learn to accept that at least my child is showing me that I am discomfort about something. So every child needs to be taught at the right age, right from the age 2.5, 3 years, when the child starts understanding what to talk, what to ask for, how to express my needs. At the same time, the child needs to be taught how to express any kind of discomfort or any kind of frustration या कोई भी चीज जो अच्छी नहीं लगती हो. So that needs to be inculcated at the right age. Now, when Sukriti was talking with me, why I mentioned social media. Now, it is very sad when I see that the child, any child as old as, say, about 5 years old, would be having a phone in his or her hand, and the phone that he is accessing has everything that you can even think of that the phone has, just at the click of button. Now, this world that the child has in her hand or his hand is so small and in a way so big that the child is able to see everything which may not be age appropriate, or the child is, watching something, reading something which is not age appropriate. So why I meant social media is that on an average, say about 10 in about 80 calls that we receive on the child helpline are mostly because children between 12 to 17 years are under frustration and depression because the number of likes that they were expecting on an Instagram and a Snapchat post that they had posted, they did not receive that. Or the kind of comments that they were expecting. Suppose if I had a haircut, or if I'm wearing something, or I'm wearing new glasses and I've posted a picture, and the kind of comments that I was expecting, I did not get those kind of comments, or my friends did not comment on this. These kind of small things, which actually doesn't matter to us, make our children feel that this is the existence, this is the thing that will make us feel that we are there and we are available on this universe just through social media. Now, according to this, now what children feel that I have made my own world. In their own world, they are expecting that on this post, I should be needing these many number of likes. On this post, I should be having these many comments. And not able to receive that makes them undergo a lot of trauma. Now, that trauma comes in front of us as anger, not eating food, not able to concentrate on food, on studies, not taking their online classes, not wanting to meet anybody, not wanting to talk to anybody. So these are the types of expressions that the child will tell if the child is not able to have that kind of an existence on social media. So, my dear parents, be very, very careful of when you introduce social media to your children, or when are they opening their accounts on social media. It may be a very fascinating thing. It may be a very, very exciting thing, but it is a situation which needs to be handled with lot of care, lot of maturity, and lot of understanding. So before you give a phone to your child, there are many parents, okay, you scored this much in class 8 and you get this phone, or you scored this in class 7 and you get a phone. Before giving a phone to them, sit and talk to them that what is social media and what happens when you post on social media. And if you're posting it, it is not that people are going to give you any kind of recommendation, or people are going to give you any kind of acknowledgement. Don't wait for that kind of acknowledgement. If you're doing it for fun's sake, it's okay. If you're doing it for acknowledgement, please stay away out of it, because acknowledgement is never fulfilling. Never. So social media is one of the biggest hurdle in the growing up stages, right from age maybe 10 to age 19. So be very, very careful when you are introducing this so-called phone into their lives.
Dr.
Now,
Nisha, I would like you to again repeat maybe what you said, that on the helpline that you're getting most of the queries from teens and children when they don't receive likes. So they are actually expressing that I am not feeling good about
not
myself.
feeling good, I am depressed. And when you ask them why you're depressed, it is not that, they are not getting food or they don't have shelter or they don't have enough books to study. They are feeling depressed and they want to give up their life because they have posted something on Snapchat and they do not have those number of likes. They thought that, I have say about 1,000 followers, तो मुझे 800 likes तो पक्का मिलेंगे. And they receive say about 90 likes or say 100 likes. And then they have this trauma. Oh my God, people don't like my picture. I am not accepted in the society. My friends don't like me. And all those negative thoughts come up. And then, instead of empowering themselves, it is just taking them beneath the system to bounce and come back only for some kind of acknowledgement and existence. So
And,
we
and,
need to understand this.
and as a counselor, how do you coach these children when they approach
Sorry?
you? And how do you coach them when they call you and say, listen, I'm depressed because of this?
See, in a situation like this, when a child is feeling that everything that I'm doing needs to be acknowledged by public, the first and the most important thing is to teach the child to understand and love yourself the way you are. So, this Instagram and Snapchat has a lot of filters. So, whatever kind of face I have, I can change it and I can put it, and then I get some kind of acknowledgement. So, I am not accepting myself the way I am, the true self I am. So, the first and the foremost thing that we do with the child is to accept that the way you are, good, bad, ugly, fat, thin, they all are just words. They do not describe you. And this is the kind of learning every parent and every teacher needs to take it to their child. That these are just the adjectives. They do not describe you. They are describing words. You've learned it in school that they describe any damn thing. And you're not a thing, you're a human. So they cannot be described you cannot be described by them. So the first and the foremost thing is to teach them how to love yourself and accept yourself. When you accept yourself the way you are, acknowledgement from outside doesn't matter. The third thing that I wanted to talk about was communication. Now, many parents I have seen, many siblings I have seen, they don't talk to each other. They don't talk with each other. I don't know why. And I don't see what can be the issue that parents themselves don't talk to their children. I see many parents who come and tell me, ma'am, ये तो हमारी बात सुनते ही नहीं, आप बोलो आपकी बात सुनेंगे. I'm sure many of you as parents must be doing that in school when you go for PTM. मैम मेरी बात तो सुनते नहीं है, आपकी बात सुनेंगे. आपकी बात क्यों नहीं सुनते? Why are they not listening to you? Do you think we as parents need to check how are we talking to our children? Are we very authoritative? Are we always commanding? Are we always giving them instructions? Are we always talking to them and asking them to do something? No. Just check. We are always telling them to do something. The moment they come from school, khana kha lo, kapde badal ro, keep your bag, keep your shoes, the moment they finish all of that, have your food. The moment they finish it, get ready and go for tuitions. The car is there, go for your classes, XYZ. Do we ever tell them, leave aside, leave your bag, leave everything, baad mein rakh dena. Sit and talk to me and tell me how was your day at the school? Kya kara aaj? But we as parents only want that our children follow each and every step that is decided by us throughout the day as as if they are running on a clock. 12:10 this, 12:15 this, 12:20 this, 12:25 this. We never ask them how was your day. Leave aside, we'll keep the bag later. We can have lunch after 10 minutes, or we can keep the socks later, just throw it away. After some time, pick it up and put it in the basket. I understand you must be tired. It's very hot. We never do that. It's only and only talking to them in a way, do this or else this, do this or else this. So my only way to introduce this to you is that when you talk to your children, talk with them, don't talk for them. मैं आपके लिए ये कर रही हूँ. You have to do this because it is good for you. I know we all parents want to do really, really good for our children. But we must understand that communication is the key. If you want your children to express, if you want your children not to suffer by being silent or not to suffer just by keeping quiet, sit every day and talk to them. Every day. I've seen even preschoolers, parents, as soon as they come home, they would ask their small little children, 2, 3 years old bachas, आज क्या किया स्कूल में, क्या पढ़ाया मैम ने, I mean, क्या पढ़ाया, 3 years क्या पढ़ाया. Why can't you ask them आज क्या मजे करे स्कूल में, what did you play, what did you eat, what did your friend get to school today, did your friend get a sandwich or somebody got pasta today, what do you want for the tiffin tomorrow. Why can't we start our conversation like this? Mostly all our conversations is about question, all question marks. Do this, do that, do this, do that. So my only concern is that when you only give instructions, children expect only instructions from their parents. And then what happens after the age of 13 and 14, when you think that, no, I need to bond with my child, now I need to sit and talk, that so-called positive thing comes into your mind, that ab mujhe baith ke baat karni. Of course, they will not talk because they are only used to taking instructions from you. They are only used to, taking commands from you. Do this, do this, do this, and don't do this. They are not used to sitting and chilling out with you and talking to you. So if you want that to happen, please start talking to your children right when your child is 3-year-old and 4-year-old. Anything stupid, anything funny, just talk to them. It is very, very important to talk to them. Next is, okay, I want to first ask a question before I go to the next point. How many of you know what are the different kinds of abuse when we talk of abuse? What do you think? What are the different kinds of abuse? Sukriti, just let me know when somebody types. What do you think can be?
Mental, physical, emotional. Arvinder says mental, verbal. Sukriti says verbal, sexual, financial. Uh, Arvinder says physical. Revati is saying verbal, mental, and emotional. Arvinder, sexual. Revati, and few abuses from their eyes, the way they look.
Very well said, Mr. Revati. Okay, so there are 5 kinds of abuses. One is sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and verbal abuse. Every abuse first starts with verbal abuse. Every abuse. Even the sexual abuse first starts with verbal abuse. Now, what do you mean by verbal abuse? When you talk about verbal abuse, the way we talk to our children. Suppose if I have my child who's little healthy, not able to get up at a go and start running and doing something in a very active way. My first verbal abuse starts to him or her by calling names. अरे क्या यार, मोटा है यार, उठा नहीं जाता है तेरे से, क्या यार. We as parents start doing that. That's verbal abuse. Now the child starts accepting it कि ये तो घर पे बोल रहे हैं तो बाहर वाले भी बोल सकते हैं. So when the child goes to school and if the child is little healthy and plump, there would be names given to him like Motu, Hippo, Hathi, something like that. And he will feel that it is okay because my mother and my father, they themselves calls me Motu. So it is okay if my friends call me Hathi. But my dear friends, it pinches every time you tell your own child, whatever good or bad labels you give to your child, it's pinching. And that's the verbal abuse, the beginning of verbal abuse. So that's the acceptance that we ourselves are giving to our children. कि ऐसे छोटे मोटे नाम तो कोई देता है ना, it's okay, you don't have to bother about. मजाक में बोल दिया. And then that mazak becomes a very big thing. And then different kinds of verbal things comes into their life. And just because they didn't speak at the first time, they will never speak at the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth time. They will think it's okay to accept. So the first, every abuse starts with verbal abuse. Second, let's move on to mental abuse. Now, what do you mean by mental abuse? So, there is in POCSO, so the full form of POCSO is Protection of Children Against Sexual Offense. So this is the law which was it came into June 2012, and it was the initiative by Ms. Menka Gandhi, who thought that every law is common for everybody, but there is not a specific law for children. And that is why for minors, which is like from 0 to 18 years, there is a law which came up which is called as POCSO. Now, POCSO has mainly two things: physical touch and non-physical touch. Can anybody tell me what is non-physical touch? We all know what is physical touch, गंदी तरीके से टच करना, raping, all that comes under touch. What do you mean by non-physical touch?
Intimidating, I put looking, ogling.
Correct.
Mental torture, Arvinder has put.
Yes. So now in today's time, now what we all are, हम जो ये बातें कर रहे हैं, ignoring and all of this, what we are talking about, ये सब पुरानी हो गई है. In today's time, non-physical touch that happens with children on Instagram and Snapchat or all the social media that they use is by exactly, Miss Verma just said cyber abuse. It starts by sending them stupid, dirty videos, by asking from them stupid, dirty, nude videos, and that is where non-physical touch starts. Now, non-physical touch also is by winking somebody, giving names, giving flying kisses, doing dirty remarks, all of those things comes under non-physical touch. And trust me, everybody, all these things are covered under POCSO. All these things are told under POCSO that if somebody is doing that to you, please come and complain it to us. But children do not complain. And why? I'm again going back to the verbal abuse. Because once they understood that it is okay not to speak about this, they think that it is okay not to speak about this also. And they come into this trap of dirty videos, sending nudes, sending emojis, sending extra, all those stupid things that they do on social media. So when you talk of mental abuse, it is, of course, physical touch and non-physical touch. Then, of course, physical abuse is beating, scratching, raping, any kind of assault that comes under all kind of physical touch. And in physical abuse, we have domestic violence, the biggest thing that is presently haunting all of us when I talk about my own Department of Child Rights and Women, where mostly, say about, in this lockdown, there is 33% increase of domestic violence cases just during this lockdown. Just imagine how frustrated these men were, or how frustrated the other family members were or are in their life, that all they could do is be violent towards their own child and towards their own women, maybe wife. And domestic violence, I'm not talking about only wives. It has happened to daughters, it has happened to mothers, it has happened to daughter-in-laws, and all kinds of women, sisters, everybody. So 33%, my dear friends, this is a very, very big and an alarming number. But out of 33%, how many percent do you think even come and talk about it? Any wild guess? 1, 2, 3.0, whatever.
I think 5%. I don't know what others think. I would love to hear from everyone. 1%, Swati says. I think people are stunned because I think this is a tough question. How many people do actually report? Less than 1%, hardly anyone. 5%, Priyanka says.
So, to be very precise, 1.8% out of this 33% come and talk about it, and that too not at legal fronts. They will not come and report. That's why I said, are they even talking about? They don't report. Legally, it is in 0.3 or 0.4% people would come and actually report, right? This is about rural and urban both. It's more in urban. Urban people don't even talk more because they're so much into their own reputation and ye ho jayega and wo ho jayega and all of that. So even out of these 1.8% cases that we hear about, it is only because the neighbors or the relatives or the third party who has seen this or who has witnessed this wants to speak about it. It's not the victim herself who wants to speak about it. So we need to empower our girls. We need to teach them that they are not made to handle this. They are not made to take this no matter what. We need to teach our daughters about this and we need to openly talk about it. And any kind of verbal, mental, physical, sexual, any kind of abuse, they are not supposed to take it from anyone. Then there is sexual abuse. So, sexual abuse for minors, of course, we have the POXO rule that I just spoke about. Now, this POXO is very beautifully done, but sadly, again, it's not that we are not able to give justice. You are only reading about things that is happening in the society and what the government is not doing. Now, you tell me one thing. I can only give you justice if you come to me that I want justice. Am I right? If you don't come and tell me that I want justice, how can I come and give it to you? Or let me put it other way. If I know that you need justice, I am coming to you and I'm telling you, look, my dear friend, you are in trouble and I know that you need justice. And you will deny, no, I'm perfectly fine. I need no justice. I'm okay. I'm happy. Everything is good in my life. How can I give you justice? 87% of sexual abuse cases are this. Either they do not come for justice, or when justice is offered to them through a third party, they deny that I don't want to talk about it. I'm happy. And if you come and tell me everything is fine with me, how can I go to the police station and say that this girl has been abused or this woman has been domestic and she's going through domestic violence? So there's a difference. There are rules, but those rules can only be applied once we accept that they need to be reported, they need to be spoken about, they need to be taken in the correct way. I know there are a lot of nuances in between that the police will do this and the law will do this and the law will do that. But there are ways to be taking this thing in a systematic way. So these are the five
So
abuses
one comment I think definitely to appreciate is the boldness of Sukriti. I too faced verbal and domestic violence, but I didn't report during the lockdown because of family reputation. And Swati has commented the poor support system is largely responsible.
yes,
I think
yes.
that took a lot of guts. So
Yes.
thank you for
So,
sharing.
we women, when we even want to speak up, we are usually not supported by the family member. But today, as we are talking about parenting, as we are talking about our children, so we all are parents. So I urge that to please make sure that you make your sons and your daughters capable enough to speak and support. Make your sons capable enough to support their wives and their daughters, and make your daughters capable enough to speak if they are going through any kind of issue. We need to speak up. The next point is, does silence work? बहुत सारी चीजों में I have seen our grandparents, our parents, I've seen many of them tell us, चुप रह जाओ, चुप हो जाओ. Does that work? How many of you all agree with me that silence work? चुप रहने से सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. Do you think?
I don't think so, but I think we are intimidated. But yes, no, 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 we're hearing never. But the reality is, हम लोग को सिखाया जाता है कि चुप रहो. We're hearing
So,
absolutely chup raho is taught.
yes, कुछ भी, कुछ भी होता है. I have seen, suppose if a mother, if a daughter would go to her mother after 6 months of marriage and say, I'm not happy, you know, my husband is doing this to me, or my father-in-law, my mother-in-law is doing this to me. The first advice, on an average, generally, would be given to her by her own parents is कि थोड़े टाइम और देख लो, सहन कर लो, अभी नया नया है. Similarly, when our own daughter, when they come back from school and they tell, you know, my friends told me this and I didn't like it. So we ourselves as parents कि ठीक है ना, हवा में उड़ा दो, मजाक तो सब स्कूल में करते हैं. No, silence. You have to pay a very big price to keep quiet. And I don't know why are we teaching our daughters to keep quiet. Why can't we teach them to speak the truth? Whatever it is, truth may be very ugly, but silence kills. Always remember this, that silence kills. Unless you're meditating and you want to be silent, then of course it is regenerating. But if you are suffering and you're silent, it kills. Truth may be very ugly, but we need to speak when it comes to any kind of suffering a person is doing. I'm not going to make it gender biased. I'm not going to make it that only girls suffer or only wives suffer. I have equally had number of cases of domestic violence when it comes to men. Even they come and complain to us that there's this woman who beats my mother, who beats me, who takes money from me, and she spends my entire salary. She's not letting me run my house in a way I want to run. So even men go through a lot of domestic violence. Even men go through a lot of financial abuse. Even they go through a mental abuse, and even our boys go through. They, when I talk about POXO, when we talk about sexual abuse, it's not only girls who are suffering, even the boys are going through sexual abuse. So let's not talk about one specific gender. Let's talk about humanity. Let's talk about humans. We all humans need to speak up, no matter what kind of suffering we are into, no matter what, we need to speak. Sometimes, as I always say as a counselor, when you want to speak, wait for the right opportunity. It may not be the right time and the right moment to speak at that time, but do speak, look for a right opportunity, and then speak up. It will help. Being silent is not going to help, no matter what kind of domestic violence or any kind of abuse you are in. And please teach your children the same thing. Yes, waiting for the right opportunity is one thing that we all should understand. You know, if I am we teach this to our children also. When I talk to my students or my clients who come for any kind of counseling, even when they come for career counseling, we tell them this thing, that learn to speak, learn to respond and not to react. So when we are angry, we immediately react. I am immediately reacting over something. But we need to understand that reactions are not going to give you any solution. We need to learn to respond, and we need to teach that to our children, that it's better to respond than to react. So responding is any day better than reaction. And teach that from the right age to your children. And every time they will wait for the right opportunity to respond, and they will not be silent. Next is 5 tips that I had told Sukriti that I'm going to give, and that really works. So the first tip I want to say is talk. Talk about everything. Don't think कि मेरा बच्चा 2 साल का है, उसको क्या समझ में आएगा. So I would just tell you, you know, कि one very beautiful example I'm thinking. So, you know, whenever we take our parenting session, I talk about these 5 points. That talk to your child no matter what. So I have a very young mother with me. She is, I think, just 27 or 28 years old. She has a child who's 3 years old. And during lockdown, there was no maid, nothing. There's a lot of work at home and her office work also, and so many other things. So generally, she was just talking to her mom. You know, the maid has not come, and I have so many clothes to wash. मैं पता नहीं क्या करूं. Even before she kept the phone, before she completed her conversation, you know, and she saw that there's some things here and there happening in the washroom. She saw her 3-year-old daughter washing her own clothes. She took her from the basket and she was washing her own clothes. These are the small things that really matter. So, whatever you do, wherever you go with your child, talk to your child. You're traveling, आप गाड़ी में बैठे हो, talk to your child about everything. See, can you see this? See how long, how big the trees are. अब देखो क्या हो रहा है, इतने सारे flowers हैं, इतने सारे लोग हैं. Start talking to your children in age appropriate way. With preschoolers in their way, with adolescents in their way. If you have teenagers, discuss every damn issue that you have. The best solutions you can get from young minds. Any problem you have, you talk to them. They will give you the best applicable solution, जुगाड़ जिसको हम बोलते हैं, because they are facing it into their day-to-day life. We think teenagers को क्या करना है? They are managing friendship, they are managing social media, they are managing online studies, they are managing career, they are managing their demanding parents, they are managing so many other things, relatives, neighbors, so many things. So any issue if you have, talk to them, they will be giving you solutions. So talk for anything and everything. Second, we all parents are very good at talking, but we are very, very bad at listening. We don't listen to our children. So whenever a child is, let me give you an example. A 6-year-old child comes from school and the parent asks, parenting session जब attend करके जाते हैं ना, तो 2 दिन तो बहुत अच्छे parent बनते हैं, and then they forget. So a 6-year-old child comes from school and a parent will ask, तो बहुत मजे करे ना स्कूल में, what did you do? And the child is thinking because it's a random new question. रोज तो ये सुना आज स्कूल में क्या करा, आज तो बहुत मजे करे होंगे, what did you do? And the child is still thinking, बताओ ना, what did you do? अरे अब मैं पूछ रही हूँ तो why you're not telling me what did you do? Did you have fun or not? And in 30 seconds the tone changed. तुम्हें तो कुछ पूछना ही नहीं चाहिए, अच्छा ये बताओ स्कूल में क्या हुआ. 30 seconds, you didn't have the patience to listen. The child is thinking it's a new question that the signal has come that my mother is asking me a different question. At least wait. We don't wait. क्या खाओगे? अरे वो क्वेश्चन प्रोसेस हुआ है, दिमाग में गया है, 1 मिनट दो तो सही सोचने के लिए. अरे बताते क्यों नहीं हो क्या खाओगे? We are not ever ready to listen. So make it a point. Now my second tip is, whenever you ask any question to your child, at least count 10. It's not yet over. 5 ही हुए अभी. अब पूछो वापस. 10 seconds तो wait कर लो. So we are very, very bad listeners. And if you're talking to teenagers, at least wait for 60 seconds. Let them come out of their zone. Let them come out of their cocoon to give you that answer of what you're asking. And never tell them, मैं तुमको कभी नहीं पूछने वाली हूँ, तुम तो मुझे कुछ बताते ही नहीं हो. Never do that. Give them time to build up that bond and that trust that yes, I can talk to my parents for anything and everything. Be a very good listener. So remember this 10 counts. If you're talking to preschoolers till adolescents, 1, not like this. Don't be over smart, okay? Your children would understand. So go slow. 1, 2, 3, right? Wait for 10 seconds. Now third, we as parents, हमें ऐसे लगता है हम बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम हमारे 1, 2, 3 जितने भी बच्चे उनको हम पाल रहे हैं. We are doing a very big thing. And in that feeling that I am doing a very big thing, we stop enjoying with our children. We don't laugh with them. We look for friends. We look for relatives. We look for going to Switzerland and Paris and US and everywhere just because we want to enjoy. Friends के साथ जाएंगे, बच्चों को सुला के जाएंगे, बच्चों को लेके नहीं जाएंगे, खुल के मजे करके आएंगे. Why can't you laugh with your own children? Why can't you have fun with your own children? I'll tell you something. अब तो मेरे बच्चे बड़े हो गए. When my children were small, I'm a big Bollywood buff. I watch every movie that comes on this universe. English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Telugu, everything. There won't be one single movie that I must have not watched. So I pick up a character, and when I go back home from office, I become that character when I go home. So sometimes I am Mogambo. Sometimes I would become Samba. Sometimes I would become Damini. Sometimes I would now when this Mahesh Mati movie that had come. No, what was this movie, Sukriti?
I'm not aware.
ये Katappa था. I became Katappa also for a day. Bahubali, yes,
Acha.
Bahubali. I became Bahubali also. And anything. Now then Ramayana and Mahabharata was so much in the trend in June and July. I became Ram, Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman, Sugriv, everything. I became Duryodhan, Bhim. There was laughter at my house. People, children feel for a day or two that my mom has gone mad. And the third day they are in sync with you. They will come in the character with you and they will laugh with you. And laughing is the only way to bond with your children. Not instructing them, not giving them good food because they know everybody can do that. Even a maid would do that. I'm sorry to say that. If you would give instructions to your maid, abhi badam dena hai, abhi juice dena hai, abhi ye dena, because you're paying her, she would do it. Laughing, she would not do it. She can't give that bond to her or him. Laughing is the only way to connect with your child any age. आप देखो 6 महीने का बच्चा भी आपको देख के हंसता है, मेड को देख के नहीं हंसता है, आपको देख के खुश होता है. So understand how important this laughing is. Connect in all possible ways. You can do, tell them jokes, ask their jokes. कोई चीज अगर उनके हाथ से गिर गई है, laugh it out with them यार. आपके हाथ से गिरती है, who's shouting at you? Some days back, my son, who's now 18 years old, my son tells me I broke a glass. And out of the 6 set, one he had broken, I think maybe about 2 years back or maybe a year back. The moment I broke that glass, he came and told me, जब मैंने तोड़ी थी मुझे तो इतना डांटा था, आपको कौन डांटेगा? We laughed over it. And I realized I should have laughed at that time also. It's just a glass, man. और आ जाएगा. And nobody does it purposely, na, कि निकाल के फेंक दिया. It just happens. It's a human error. So laugh over good things, laugh over bad things, laugh over difficult things. And doing this, they would definitely learn to take things in a lighter way. Smile and laugh with your friends, okay? Sorry, with your children. Fourth important thing, travel. I love to travel with my children. Travel anywhere and everywhere for 1 day, 2 days, 15 days, 1 month, wherever you are going. Once you have children, travel with your children. Traveling teaches you lots and lots of things. So, and how can you involve children to when you're traveling? For packing, for making a list of what they will need there, what they will do on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, क्या करेंगे, क्या खाएंगे, कहाँ जाएंगे. Have your children participate in the entire planning that they want to do. When children plan your travel plans, that okay, we are going to do this and we are going to do that, we will go there and eat this, we will go there and do this. When they are involved in traveling, you see the traveling experience will be absolutely amazing. You will not miss your friends. You would want to travel because you all are like-minded people who have gone together. So travel with them and let them involve in your traveling plans. Don't tell them तुम्हें समझ में नहीं आया. You forget it. तुम्हें क्या पता वहाँ पे क्या होता है? Let them involve. Let them ask you questions. Let them be curious about it, that where we are going, because their curiosity will help you to find out more of what you can do with your children there. So answer their curiosity in every possible way. And the last, now this is for children all about 8 and 9 years. Discuss with them at least one topic in a week. So pick up anything. So I would tell you presently I and my children, we are discussing about the India-China border, right? Now, why am I doing that? Of course, we always assume कि बच्चों को तो पता ही होगा. Or we always assume कि इन्हें इन सब के बारे में क्या लेना देना? Why do they need to know about this? Why do they need to read about this? So, there is some kind of confidence build up when our children sit amongst their relatives, their cousins, and their own friends, and they are aware of what is happening around the world. Their outlook and their perception when they talk to their friends, or when they have to respond about something is absolutely different when they are aware about what is happening across the world. They should know basic things after the age of 10, and they should be able to reply and communicate with all age group. So suppose if he or she has a sibling who's 5 or 6 years old, of course they can relate, they can play with that child. If they have an older sibling who's 15 and 16 years of old, they both need to discuss something together, or both the parents need to discuss something together. Grandparents need to sit and discuss something together. So pick up one topic, and in that discussion, why I am in so much of favor of discussion, in that discussion, you get to know of what your own child's vision and perception is. अगर vision कहीं पे भी गड़बड़ है, if the perception is somewhere ऊपर नीचे, if they are not perceiving something or some particular situation in the right way, we at that time can correct immediately that, no, don't look at this in this way, probably look at this in this way, and see, you'll be able to understand the difference between the two. So 5 things, always remember, and it works to have a wonderful parenting experience. See, parenting, it's not an easy job. It's like a roller coaster of different kinds of emotions that comes together. Angry bhi ho, frustrated bhi ho, irritated bhi ho, loved bhi ho, all emotions come together. It's not an easy job. But these 5 things will make it memorable and make it a little easy. So talk, listen, laugh, travel, and discuss. Age appropriately, do everything with them whenever it is possible, and build up that kind of system that, your children, with these 5 things, there is no way that a child would not come and discuss or open up for any problem that the child would have. Any problem with these 5 things, but you have to start at the right age. Start when the child is 4 years old. Instead of asking, आज क्या क्या स्कूल में, change your question. Did you have fun at school? For me, it was very boring at home. मैंने तो कुछ नहीं किया. What did you do? Can you tell me? Did you learn something new today? Can we do that at home today? Change your way of talking to your children. Don't talk to them in an instructive and always an authoritative way. Please talk to them as you're talking to an individual who will have his own mind and own way of talking. Accept it that way. Accept it. Many parents can't even accept कि इसने मेरे को कैसे जवाब दे दिया, इसको इतना कैसे पता है. अरे पता तो होगा, दुनिया में अपना खुद का दिमाग लेके आया है. Accept that your children can be smarter than us. They can be, they can be really real, and don't leave a single opportunity to learn from your own children. I have learned a lot from my own children. A lot. And whatever experiences I'm sharing, it's my own parenting experiences. Not, okay, what we tell in our seminars and in our sessions, there's a different thing. Okay, that's all gyan. But these are 5 things that I have shared with you is my own experiences with my children. And it has really helped me bond well with them. Now, I'm open for question answers.
Damini, we have a couple of questions, I think.
Yes, we do, and we're just unmuting them, and a lot of people are agreeing to all your points, and there seems to be a lot of takeaway from them. Just one thing they would like you, in case if possible, can you repeat those 5 points once again? Just the 5 things.
Talk, listen, laugh, travel, and discuss.
Perfect. So we have unmuted Kailash. Kailash, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, okay, good evening. My question is regarding those families in which there is a kind of 3 generations, grandparents, parents, and child. Now, the child is innocent in a way, has his own life, her own life, but the problems are existing between like Saas Bahu kind of problem. What about children? Because they become accountable to 2 sets of people. So what would be your advice in such cases?
So, very nice question, Kailash ji. Now, my only takeaway in this would be that firstly, if he or she is your own child, a child is blessed to be living with 3 generations, parents and grandparents. Very few children are blessed like this to be having parents and grandparents. So in a situation like this, when a child comes into your life, if you are disagreeing with something, your own parents would say, nahi kar lene do, dekh lene do TV, le lene do mobile. These are our very common things. Now, when a child observes this, that there is no tuning between my parents and my grandparents, this advantage seeking situation comes very soon in his or her life, for very small little things. So that is called as taking advantage of the situation. And उसको सिखाना नहीं पड़ता, बच्चा अपने आप सीख जाता है, because घर पे environment वैसा है. Now in a situation like this, Kailash ji, I would suggest that you and your wife and the grandparents should be sitting together and talking. Most important thing, एक बार बैठ के बात करिए that whatever we are doing is for the benefit of this child. The kind of parenting your parents had for you worked at that time, but that same parenting may not work at this time in the digital and technological environment that the child is. So sit and talk to them that these are certain do's and don'ts. Now in these do's and don'ts, you will not interfere in their do's and don'ts, and they will not interfere in yours do's and don'ts. If they are spoiling the child for probably eating a candy more, or giving an ice cream more, or taking out on a Sunday for more than an hour or 2 hours, do not interfere. Just take that in a lighter mode, that your own child is getting a lot of grandparents' love. And if in your do's and don'ts, that during studies, if the grandparents are calling them, chalo ghumne chalte, then if they are interfering, it's time to tell them, we decided that in these points you will not interfere, and in these points we will not interfere. If you take out a midway, I don't think that there can be an issue to handle any child in this environment. I hope this helps.
So our next question is from Dr. Bhuna. Please go ahead.
No, actually,
Yeah.
it was. I didn't prepare any question. I just wanted to say, now she was just saying, you can just sit and discuss about the problems, like do's and don'ts and things like that. But when the grandparents are not in a position to listen what you're saying, because there are people, who totally neglect whatever you say and whatever you talk, and whatever, there's no preference for the daughter-in-law or anything in a house. There are families like that, when they don't even sit and talk, when they don't even come for any agreement, and what kind of situation, how to handle those kind of things. Because if we just keep on adding pressure to our own say and our own views, then only problem arises in the family, in the relationship.
Right.
So
right.
how do we tackle this?
So in that situation, the first thing that you shouldn't be doing is poison the child with the grandparents. Never ever do that. Your grandmother is like this and your grandfather is like this. They've always done this to me or something. And don't have your personal conflicts affect your child's relationship with your grandparents. Now, in a situation like this, when your say, I know in many Indian families, our say as daughter-in-laws is very, very low. Many Indian families is very, very low, and we're not even given a space to tell our own thing. Now, in a situation like this, my only suggestion would be to talk to your own child of whatever things you want your child to do. There should be a lot of understanding and explanation between you and your child without getting your grandparents in between. Now, in this situation, you only need to teach your children in the correct way that what is right and what is wrong. Very small little thing that you may tell your child that watching so much television or being on mobile for so long is very harmful. And the grandmother would say, dekh le, koi farak nahi padta. It's okay. 15-20 minutes more is not going to make a problem. Now, instead of poisoning that what your grandmother is doing, she's always done this and blah, 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 cut that off and explain your child logically of what would happen if your child is watching a television or being online for a very long time. What are the consequences that the child would have to pay for it? Now, after explaining the consequences, leave that to the child. If the child still wants to watch television, now we as parents don't leave decision making to our children. It becomes very difficult for us when our children start taking their own decisions. So leave that. Now, still, if the child is still watching television or still being on the mobile or still eating something wrong, again, after 5 days, sit and talk to him. Again, talk about the consequences. You have to convince your children, you don't have to create a conflict at home. There is already one conflict that you are not having a say. By creating a conflict between the child and the grandfather, the grudges are not going to keep the child at peace. So create a situation where you are able to discuss with your child once, twice, thrice, maybe 5 times. And I'm sure if the conversation is going in the correct manner, the 7th time it will click to your child. It will.
I think we'll take the last question, Damini. Damini?
Yes, our last question is from Malika. We are just asking her to unmute herself. Malika, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. My question is, does a child really require a sibling? Because my child is 9 years old. From my side, I think he's completely, as a individual, I feel is complete. But surroundings like my relatives and my friends who have dope children, they think a child is incomplete without a sibling. So I'm extremely confused. If you can just give me a guidance on that, ma'am.
Malika, see, this is an individual approach, I would say. Having another child in your life is a complete individual decision what you and your husband need to take. But looking at from a child's point of view, if you are giving your child all different kind of exposure of being with different age groups, being amongst children at different spaces of time, different phases of time, I don't think that you need another child only because a child would need a sibling. No, a child is never complete or incomplete without a sibling. A child is complete or incomplete because of the environment the child comes from. So if you are having a fulfilling environment for your own child, the child will never be incomplete. But if the environment is not fulfilling, then you may have to question yourself that do I need to take this step or not? So having another child, as from your point of view, it's a personal thing that you and your husband should talk. But from your child's point of view, if you are giving enough experiences, I don't think he or she will feel incomplete about it. Make sure the child is connected with relatives. Make sure the child is connected with grandparents, with cousins from both the sides, mother and father. Then I think the child will not feel incomplete.
Well, thank you, Nisha. That was an extremely eye-opening session, as you promised us. Any last tips before we sign off for the night?
I would just want to sign off by saying this, that all of us here are parents, and I would just want to say that our children are not our properties. They are not things. They are another human who have come through us on this earth, who have their own mind and own brain and own way of living. Please accept that and be a part of their journey. Don't push and be a system in their journey. Just be a part, and I think even you as a parent and your child will have a beautiful journey ahead.
Now, a lot of people are also asking how to reach out to you. So is there a way people can reach out to you?
Yes, please. Should I put my email ID on the
Yes,
chat?
if you would, that would be great. Thank you.
I can do
With
that.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Please do keep checking back on Sipping Thoughts. Lots of exciting sessions. Thank you, Nisha, for being with us. It was definitely eye-opening for me. And with that, we wish you all a good night.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. And we are available on Facebook, on Instagram. So you all can get in touch with us through that also. And I've just put the office number and email ID in the chat. So everybody can just note that. Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone. See you again.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe and stay at home. If not needed, don't go out.